Thank you to those who are already here with us in the webinar. We are going to be starting in 5 minutes, so just get comfortable and we'll get started here in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Hello, good evening, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this Wellness Talk webinar about the DIY cleansing products with essential oils and pantry staples. Tonight, we have Thalia Charney, the Education Manager with Now Canada, joining us. There she is. And we're going to discuss why making your own cleaning products at home is an all-around win. So before I get into the intro, I'm just going to put a poll up here to see who is in the room. Who here has tried making their own DIY cleaning products at home before? So there's a yes, there's a no. Click in there, let us know so we know how many of you have never tried it before, or you're experts already and you've done this at home a lot. It looks like so far the answer is yes, but I'll keep watching that as the polls come in. So my name is Haley Giddens, and I'm part of the events team with Nature's Fair Markets. On behalf of all of our stores and our entire team, I would like to let you know how much we appreciate your support with our events and continuing to come visit us in stores. For those of you who have shopped with us recently, our stores may look and feel a little bit different right now, but as always, we're here to encourage and support you on your own personal wellness journey, whatever that might be right now. So the presentation is going to be about an hour long tonight, and the microphones are going to remain muted for the duration of the presentation. But throughout the webinar, we definitely encourage you to submit some Q&A questions into the chat box. And Deborah is also on the panel with us tonight. She's joining us from Now Canada, and she'll be answering your questions or letting you know if she can't address them, that Thalia will connect on them at the end. You'll also see that there are a few handouts that you can download directly from the webinar. So there's a couple recipes as well as a resource guide from Thalia. And the presentation is being recorded and it'll be sent out by email tomorrow along with a thank you coupon for your participation. And for a few lucky participants, for those who stay on through right to the end today, we will be doing a random draw for 5 lucky winners. Now Canada has put together a $50 shopping spree for any of their products. So stay tuned to see if you're the big winner tonight. And before I hand it over to Thalia, I just want to give you a bit of a background on where she's joining from Ontario tonight. So she's a little bit later than we are here in BC, but she brings a wealth of experience from her many years as a health coach and a nutrition expert, as well as her insights that she's gained from having authored Canada's most comprehensive book on navigating food products. It's called The Confident Food Shopper, The Guide to Food Labels and Fables. She uses this as a springboard to balance and broaden an insightful perspective to any health topic. And she's been a guest speaker in our stores, as well as a trainer at numerous corporate events. She's been on the radio, at health shows, as well as a lot of different health and environmental panels. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Thalia. We're very much looking to learn from your expertise.
Thanks, you're welcome.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm very excited because this is such a fun topic. So thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to jump right into it and just know that the resources that you have attached that you can are all of the great videos that I found. So many of the things that I mention, or if I go through it quickly, you're going to have access and be able to find everything. So don't worry. You'll have access to all the recipes and all the videos. So I've done the work for you going through YouTube. My main goal tonight, other than to get you enthusiastic about DIY cleaning products if you're not already, is the SEE of cleaning. So I want it to be safe, environmentally sustainable, effective, of course, and economical. We all want to save some money. So safety first, as they always say, let's start with that. You've probably heard of craziness going on with COVID-19. And this statistic, so 58% increase in poisoning in Canada from bleaches, disinfectants, sanitizers, and such, with people trying to disinfect their places. Suffices to say, people don't really realize that cleaning products are not, they're not benign, and they can be dangerous and they can be toxic when used wrong. And so it's really nice to be able to get involved in do-it-yourself, which is generally a lot safer. The Environmental Working Group, which is, there's a reference to it at the end, is an amazing website, an organization to learn about existing products. And so you will notice on there, now they grade different products, and they've given an F grade, meaning fail, very bad, to a lot of the very recognizable brands that people use. You have your, Ajax and your Lysol and such. And part of the reason they get this failing grade is because of the ingredients that cause various health risks. So if you're not familiar with the Environmental Working Group and you have just regular commercial products, go and search there. So for example, Easy Off here, not only does it give it a grade, but it breaks down the different ingredients and explains why it gives them those different grades. So it's super helpful. And of course, I'm going to try and introduce to you only ingredients that are, A or B, so very safe ingredients that you can use, such as this Castile Soap you're looking at. And unfortunately, in Canada, we still don't have we don't have full disclosure of ingredients on our cleaning products, unlike in California in 2017, where they got a victory because they have it's become law there. And it really should be that way everywhere, but it's not. So it's nice to have ingredients where there's just one word on it, one ingredient. We use so many unnecessary products. There's air fresheners that stay in the air, for up to 3 hours. We have antibacterial products that can really cause bacterial resistance over time. Fabric softeners and dryer sheets, very caustic oven and drain cleaners, bleach, which is so strong, and laundry pods are just some examples. But I'm mostly concerned, well, not mostly, but very much with the sprays, because again, there's special chemicals in here to keep things in the air for up to 3 hours. So even if you think that after you've sprayed it and kids and pets come in an hour later that it's gone, it's not. So some basic tips for cleaning: wear gloves. I recently bought these Veleda ones, which are very comfortable. I find so many gloves are bulky and don't fit my hands. I'm guilty of not wearing goggles or masks, but it doesn't hurt, even if you're using natural stuff. For example, when you're mixing powders, they will go in the air and you inhale them. Ventilating out areas. Of course, reading your labels and instructions for your countertops or floors or whatever it is that you have, or your dishwashers that come with it in terms of what to use or not to use. But making your own products, to me, is the best way to be safe. So I'm going to talk first about the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting, which we've heard a lot about lately. So cleaning is the number one step. It's basically just mechanically removing soil or dirt using soap or detergents. This is what we do in our homes. This is, for the most part, really all we need to do. Sanitizing is different. It's killing off some pathogens, and it's based on public health codes. And this is something that generally needs to be done in restaurants. They have to follow certain sanitization rules. Disinfecting is a whole other level. This is killing off almost all pathogens, and it's mostly, under normal circumstances, just something that needs to be done in places like hospitals. So the disinfectants, there'll be other times when maybe in a home situation we need to do it, such as right now with COVID-19, or if you're having, suppressed people, toddler throws up in an area, chicken fluid spill in your kitchen. There's some times when you might want to disinfect. But a couple of important tips. One, you cannot disinfect greasy or dirty areas. You have to first clean them. And that goes for your hands too. Putting alcohol in your hands when they're dirty or greasy won't work. And secondly, and as important, you need dwell time. So we are so used to seeing commercials where you have something applied, you've got Mr. Clean, and magically it's applied and you wipe it right away and it's clean and disinfected just like magic. But products take time to work. So just leaving them to sit for a few minutes, and I'm impatient, so it's hard, will go a long way so that you don't have to do a lot of work. And we have choices when it comes to disinfectants. Chlorine bleach is not something that, to me, is a great choice. It can be dangerous when mixed with the wrong things, which is why we've had all these news, the news flash that I showed you at the beginning of people getting sick or even dying, because the bleach releases this chlorine into the air when mixed with certain ingredients. So the safer options are alcohol and hydrogen peroxide, and those are my preferences. Now, there's all kinds of claims out there about other disinfectants like tea tree or vinegar that I've listed here at the bottom, but just know that those are not recognized as disinfectants by Health Canada. And this is an important point. Are bugs bad? No. Viruses, bacteria, we are meant to live with them. Everybody's got viruses in their body all the time. We're full of bacteria on our skin and our gut, and we know that in many cases, these things are, they live harmoniously with us and may even impart important health benefits. So we don't want to sterilize ourselves and our environments under normal circumstances again. public experts and health experts generally recommend basic hygiene, like cleaning our hands, separating cutting boards, storing food properly, and that sort of stuff. All right, so let's get into some of the supplies that you may benefit from having around if you're going to do a DIY. Firstly, and I got my own here that I'm showing you, lovely spray bottle. I happen to find this one great. It's difficult to find good spray bottles that don't clog up and that are comfortable. Old toothbrushes are incredible for scrubbing in little crevices. You want gloves. Some of these other things come in handy as well. A storage caddy, if you have a big house, will make your cleaning more efficient and less aggravating. A squeegee goes a long way to prevent mold and mildew because you just, after your shower, remove water. Pumice stone can be helpful. Microfiber cloths I'll get into, and other things like this. The wringer bucket is important because we often put too much water on our floor, and this just makes for more work and less clean. So you really want to wring out the water. Lint roller is helpful, and a scraper for really old, stubborn stuff that's stuck in your oven and such. So it's helpful to have some of these gadgets. Microfiber cloth. So this lady you're looking at here, Melissa, got me into them. She has this YouTube channel, Clean My Space, which is amazing. And she sells her own microfiber cloths. So I did order some and I love them. I didn't know that there were so many different kinds of microfiber that are different. As you can see, there's the waffle one and such. Benefits are vary depending on the different ones. And it's nice to get ones that are labeled for different uses. Also, what I found out from her is that I was doing all the wrong things in terms of taking care of mine. So here's a great link to learn about how to care for them. For example, microfiber cloths are supposed to be staticky. That's how they work. They attract stuff and lint. And so if you wash them with static reducing materials and fabric softeners, you're reducing their work, which is not good. If you wash them with other things, then they're attracting all the dirt from your clothes to them. So read those if you have microfiber cloths. Read the details there. Other great cleaning tips. First, do no harm. So all-purpose cleaner really, as I said, goes a long way. We don't need 100 types of cleaning products. We're just made to think that so that, all these commercial companies sell a lot of products, but the truth is that many of them are very similar in their ingredients. Cleaning from top to bottom so that, the dirt falls down is very efficient. Dwell time. So whether you're disinfecting or degreasing, putting product and letting it sit for a while and coming back is going to be a game changer. Spot testing. So I did a lot of preparation and trying things, removing stains from clothes, and I ruined a few things on the way by not spot testing. So for whatever I suggest, spot test before you cover a whole wall in something. And a lot of us clean in the circular pattern, and we're taking the dirt and putting it back. This S pattern going downwards is much more efficient, and that's another great tip that I learned. So I'm going to go through about 13 different ingredients and then show you lots of recipes more towards the end that contain many of these, although I'll show you some recipes on the way. I divided them here for fun and for those who are interested in science. Many of our ingredients are either alkaline in the purple, kind of neutral like dish soap, or acidic like vinegar and citric acid, and these impart many of the cleaning properties that they have. So I'm going through the alkalines first. Disclaimer. So these recipes here are for informational purposes only. Don't disregard specific cleaning instructions for your products, clothing, or surfaces. And don't disregard instructions or warnings from your particular models, washing machines, and dishwashers. And yes, any undesirable results from using these recipes shared here or links are at the user's own risk. But hopefully we should all be fine with a little bit of common sense and practice. Okay, alkaline cleaners. Soap. Let's start with the basics. Soap is key for all-purpose cleaners. So Castile Soap, if you haven't heard of it, is a vegetable-based liquid soap. It's the most gentle soap, so it's very versatile. A very popular brand of liquid soap is Dr. Bronner's, so I'm showing this. Castile, by the way, is named after the original origins in Spain. And that recipe was just olive oil based, but nowadays Castile soap is any vegetable based soap. It can also come in the form of flakes. So I use like this Eco Pioneer soap flakes, and that's also helpful for DIY. So we've got Castile Gentle Soap. You can actually make your own liquid soap from the Castile flakes, which is a lot of fun. And again, at the end, you have a link to all of these YouTube videos I'm showing you here that will say make liquid soap and then give you the link so you can watch those and enjoy. Baking and washing soda. So I did a little side to side here because they sound very similar, and gosh, they are. Sodium bicarbonate and sodium carbonate. They're very similar, which made me think, well, what the heck? If they're the same and they have a lot of overlap in what they do, when do I use one or the other? Well, baking soda is a little bit milder. It's a milder base. So I found, generally speaking, it's better for household cleaning as a gentle abrasive. Not as great for laundry, but it can be used if you have very delicate items. Use baking soda instead of washing soda. But for the most part, washing soda by its name is well known for washing our clothes. It's a little bit stronger, and I'd say it's better for the laundry than baking soda generally. There are endless uses for baking soda here. One thing I forgot to add into this presentation is that for many months, I would wash my hair, my scalp with baking soda and rinse with apple cider vinegar. Worked like a charm. My hair looked great. So I didn't put that one in here, but baking soda is known, of course, as a deodorizer, so you can sprinkle it on surfaces and then vacuum it off or wipe it off, depending on the surface, and there's endless examples of where you can use it, such as in your recycle bins that get smelly. It's a mild abrasive, so you can make a paste very easily and add essential oils if you want. Of course, it can extinguish small fires. There's a little video at the end about that. For gentle laundering, if you prefer, and an interesting here recipe on how to remove the yellow nail stains using baking soda and hydrogen peroxide. Washing soda, so some overlap, can be used in the laundry, is used in swimming pools, incidentally, to help raise the pH, can remove moss from paths and patios, also a great deodorizer, and a little stronger than baking soda, so for more tough grease or stains, you can use it and you'll find many recipes. Then there's borax. So borax is sourced from natural minerals found when a sort of lake is dried up, and it's composed mostly of just sodium and boron. Boron is just a natural mineral. Now, when you add borax into water, it breaks down into hydrogen peroxide, which you might know whitens our teeth. It's a natural whitener, which is why borax is a mild bleaching agent and also deodorizer and sanitizer. So it's also another one of those ingredients that has a million uses, and you'll find many recipes with it. Borax versus washing soda. These are just two ingredients that are commonly found in commercial washing products, but borax is usually found in liquid products and washing soda more commonly in powder products for whatever reason. You rarely see them together, but they have, as you can see, a lot of overlap in what they do as well. Borax is what many kids are using to make slime, so it has that interesting use. It also has other, outside of cleaning, great uses as weed killers and insect and pest repellents, or it kills them. But then in addition to that, you can use it for all kinds of things around the house. All right, so what about bleach? So what I like to use, I don't use that regular chlorine bleach because to me it's just too harmful. I use what's called oxygen bleach powder, which does not have the chlorine in it, which is what causes a lot of the bad health effects when various ingredients are mixed together and it's released into the air. So oxygen bleach, otherwise for short we'll call it SPC, when it's added into water, it also turns into hydrogen peroxide again and washing soda. So I love the science of this all because you find many of these ingredients either sound like one another or turn into one another. So there you have it, hydrogen peroxide and washing soda. The hydrogen peroxide releases oxygen, which bubbles up and helps lift the stains. So oxygen bleach would be maybe the strongest of the alkaline cleaners I've mentioned so far. If you really need to whiten something, you can add it in addition to your regular washing mixture that you've made or soak ahead of time. Why do I suggest to use 100% pure oxygen bleach? Well, in its most pure form, it works better. Again, conventional chlorine bleach, like Clorox, is stronger, more harmful, not necessarily more effective, and it actually can, over time, damage clothes fibers and make them off-white, even though it's supposed to whiten. And of course, dangerous when mixed with other certain products. So oxygen bleach uses are many, and again, a lot of overlap from some of the other ingredients I've mentioned, but good to have at home to add into your recipes that you will find. Some tips about oxygen bleach powder. One, it doesn't work well unless it's in hot water. So that's one important thing. It only works well, or if it's only effective when it's wet. So if you make some kind of mixture or paste, when it dries up, it's not working. You got to keep wetting it. So it needs to be wet. And it also has a shelf life of about 6 hours and it's no longer active. So this is not something you can make up in your spray bottle and then keep it and use it whenever you want. You got to make it on demand. And here are some general recipes of different concentrations, how to mix it with water depending on what you're doing, a small soak or a large soak, and so on. All right, so let's go from the alkalines to the acids. Citric acid, I like this one because we can all relate to it. We've all eaten citrus fruits, so we know about citric acid to a degree. It has a lovely scent. It's an excellent degreaser, and we know that because people use lemons sometimes to clean. The acids, generally speaking, are great to help with mineral deposits. So if you have heavy water at home, which means it's got a lot of minerals in it, like calcium, those minerals can deposit and clog things up, and citric acid or vinegar are very helpful for lifting those minerals and suspending them when we're washing or cleaning. Citric acid is also a good preservative. Important with your acids, avoid using them on countertops or floors that are stone, marble, and brass. And don't mix acids with Castile soap. There's a lot of recipes out there that show Castile soap mixed with an acid. I was wondering why for years when I put vinegar in my water to wash the floor and added Castile soap, there's always these clumps floating around because they neutralized one another, and then I just had useless globs. So uses for citric acid, you can use it as to replace vinegar in the wash. So both citric acid and vinegar are used as water softeners, which means basically they're helping suspend those minerals. And also I watched a nice video trying to show what's the best way to remove rust, vinegar or citric acid, and citric acid won out. So there's a little tidbit. These were so much fun to make. I made toilet cleaning bombs. You need citric acid for these. It sort of helps bind the tablets that you make. Super easy and a great gift. And that you can clean your toilet between the major cleans by just dropping it in and it sort of fizzes. So that's a lot of fun. Vinegar. So there's different kinds of vinegar. You'll sometimes see a vinegar, like the sort of regular vinegar where it says you can consume it, versus the cleaning vinegar. The difference is, one, the cleaning vinegar is a little bit more acidic, but a lot more expensive. You can use them both to clean your floors. It doesn't really matter. There's also more industrial strength vinegar, which is what I use. So I'm going to speak to that. So I use industrial strength is stronger. So it's 5 times more concentrated than regular vinegar, which is, I created a chart here. So if you see recipes with the 5 times concentrate, you can convert them. So there's the one Eco Pioneer. I also have here at home Simply Clean 5 times. These are both the exact same strength. I like it because you can always dilute a vinegar that you have, but you can't make it more concentrated than what you have. And sometimes it calls for, life calls for higher concentration. So I did this with my shower a couple weeks ago, a lot of fun. You put full strength vinegar, the 5 times, or diluted half in a bag tied around your shower head and leave it there overnight. Breaks up all the minerals. So basically, vinegar is for alkaline messes, to suspend those minerals. So that's going to help with hard water stains, mineral buildup, soap scum, which is minerals in your bath plus dead skin cells and other stuff, and rust stains. My tip when it comes to vinegar is clean first with soap, because the soap is alkaline, and next rinse with the vinegar if you have hard water to avoid the buildup of scum. So doing that in order rather than always mixing them together as is in so many recipes, I think may be more effective. So soap, then vinegar. Hard water tip. So if you happen to know the exact how hard your water is in terms of the ppms, you can use this formula to know what is the best amount of vinegar to add into your washing machine to deal with your hard water, so you can be more exact. So vinegar is great as a fabric softener alternative, and the best thing is to add it to the rinse cycle, because if you add it right at the beginning, again, it's kind of competing with your soap, which is alkaline. Add it more towards the end. I did this experiment at home because I wasn't even sure. I suspected my water's hard. A very easy little experiment where you just drop Castile soap into your water, and if it's like you see in the red here, if it's very murky, you have hard water. If it's not, you don't. So there's a little trick. Now, we're all familiar with, this is probably the most common DIY thing to clean out your drains, is to put vinegar and then baking soda together, and you see this kind of explosion, and then follow it with hot water. So there's a lot of controversy about this, because baking soda, which is alkaline, plus vinegar, which is acidic, combine them together, and what you get is like a neutralization of the both. So you've neutralized the acidity and the alkalinity, which are important for cleaning, and you just have this inactive salt. So some people say it can't possibly work, but others say, well, when they mix and they create that sort of explosion or bubbling, that creates pressure. If this occurs in a closed system, that pressure can help lift dirt, which makes sense. But the toilet is not a closed system. Maybe the hot water is what helps. It's kind of a question that I couldn't completely answer, the unresolved mystery. So if you find it helpful, keep doing it. Otherwise, maybe you want to try them in, first using one, then the other, and not together. I'll be interested in knowing your feedback at the end. I did this experiment to show you. So what happens when you mix Castile soap and vinegar, so your alkaline and your acid, you can see here clumping. But if you mix acid, or if you mix vinegar with ordinary dish soap, it doesn't seem to do that. The dish soap is not as alkaline as Castile. So bottom line, don't mix vinegar with Castile soap, but you can mix it with ordinary dish soap. Same thing happened here with citric acid. Acid and Castile don't go well together. Don't follow recipes that suggest you mix Castile soap with any kind of acid. Myth. So vinegar cuts grease. We know that salad dressing, if you mix oil and vinegar, it doesn't mix. So how can vinegar possibly clean the oil or get the grease away if they can't even mix? So it's not a good degreaser. You need soap. Soap is the most effective degreaser. So use soap first to remove the grease and follow it with vinegar. Cautions about vinegar: it can ruin many surfaces, so just be aware of what you have and where you shouldn't use it, such as on stone surfaces, and never mix it with ammonia. Alcohol. So alcohol is neither an acid nor a base, but it's very soluble in water. Because it mixes well in water, it's great to help mix other ingredients that don't mix well in water, like essential oils. And cool fact, at least for me, because I'm a science nerd, 70% alcohol solutions are superior to 100% when it comes to disinfecting. So more is not always better. That's why you don't see hand sanitizers that are 100% alcohol out there. So one of the benefits of alcohol is that it dries really quickly. And so then it's safer for those type of surfaces that would otherwise get damaged by liquids or water sitting on them. And so that's why alcohol is great for cleaning keyboards, screens, cell phones, tablets, those sort of things where you want it to evaporate quickly. I clean my glasses with just alcohol water mixture that I've made. Alcohol is great for cleaning dry eraser boards, which can be a pain. You can use it to prevent car window frost in the winter, which is super. So those are some of the great uses. Now, if you want to use it to clean your screens, don't spray your screens, spray your gentle cloth and then wipe in the nice S little pattern, as I mentioned before. Hydrogen peroxide, we're all aware of the fact that it bleaches because, again, people use it sometimes for their teeth. I'm referring to 3% hydrogen peroxide. Be careful what you buy because it can come in a very strong amount and that can be very caustic on your skin. So if you get a stronger one, dilute it to 3% for all uses and wear gloves. So hydrogen peroxide is great because it bleaches for stains, stained grout lines, laundry stains, and I did use it to take a very stained white shirt and restore it back to, looks like I just bought it yesterday. So, so hydrogen peroxide is another great thing to have around. And the tip for that is leave it in a dark container because it's unstable and breaks down in air. So if you mix your hydrogen peroxide, if you have a more concentrated one, you mix it and put it in a clear bottle and leave it out, it's going to become ineffective. Essential oils, I have tons of them and I love adding them to all my DIY cleaning products. Many essential oils naturally have antimicrobial properties because that's the properties that they impart on the plant to protect them. And there's many to choose from. You got the citrus, which is naturally degreasing. I love lime, I'm absolutely in love with it. Peppermint. If you've got ants in the summer, eucalyptus if you're congested, or in the winter if you have colds, lavender, whatever you want. I love this combination product called Nature Shield that's got a lot of antimicrobials in it. So that's a favorite I use to clean my floors. Just remember that essential oils are highly concentrated. For example, it takes 150 lemon rinds just to make this one bottle of lemon essential oil. That's how concentrated they are. So never put them undiluted on your skin, and a little goes a long way in your cleaning products. Few miscellaneous. Cornstarch is also helpful to have around. I haven't used it, but one of the most common uses is for starching fabrics. I don't iron and I never will, but if you do. And table salt is great. Some people use actually Epsom salts as a water softener in their laundry, so I'd be interested to hear if anyone does that. But table salts are great for cleaning. They're absorbent. They're, of course, a little bit abrasive. And one of the common uses is for cutting boards. All right, so now let's delve completely into the second half, which is all the recipes. I won't read them all out because you'll have them to look back on, but I'll just highlight certain things. So you can make your own cleansing wipes. Here is a recipe, again, using vinegar and alcohol, essential oils, just simple ingredients. You make your own hand cleanser. I made my own one here that I've been using. Again, just alcohol, aloe vera. Thyme is a really nice essential oil for antimicrobial effects. And you just need a nice little container. Hand soap liquid. So I make my own hand soap. I use the Dr. Bronner's Castile. I do use this, as you can see there, vitamin E. And having a little bit of vitamin E and almond oil, while not essential, help reduce some of the drying that, especially right now with washing our hands so frequently, if your hands become very dry and cracked, bacteria and viruses can more easily get into those cracked crevices. So we want to wash our hands, but add some things in that will just temper that drying a little bit and, of course, moisturize. There's so many recipes out there for multi-purpose spray cleaners, so feel free to look around. But here's one that I like, which is just borax and water, a little bit of Castile soap. When you're making your products, the one thing I realized is I was always using too much soap. And at the end of the day, it leaves a soapy film. It's hard to remove, and the surfaces end up getting more dirty faster because of that soap residue left. So I find a lot of online recipes just overdo it with the soap. Try doing less if you find that you're getting streaks and stickiness. All-purpose scouring powder can just basically be baking soda, but baking soda and borax combined with some essential oil, keep it in a jar, and you have your natural, safe abrasive. And then you can take that scouring abrasive powder, all-purpose powder you've made, mix it with a little Castile soap and essential oil, and you have a nice degreaser. And again, remember, if you're trying to remove grease, let it sit, let it dwell, depending on how much of a disaster you're dealing with. This was my favorite DIY of late. So this actually had an awful sticker on it, and it's now removed using this great technique. So soaking jars in hot water can help remove labels, but adding some oxygen bleach powder really helps. Some labels are more stubborn. I had some labels just lift off. Then I had the jars where I had previously tried to pull labels off, and I had this whole sticky mess underneath. This was miraculous, literally. Baking soda mixed with vegetable oil, applied to the jars, as you see in this picture, left to dwell for 10 minutes or so. Effortlessly, everything comes off. I'm loving it because I love to upcycle all my jars. For for stainless steel, using citric acid is great when you have these terrible burns. Furniture polish, never need to buy it, just make a small amount because olive oil goes off, and you can polish with olive oil, lemon, and vinegar. Carpet deodorizers or deodorizers of any kind, borax or baking soda are both great. with a little bit of cornstarch and an essential oil of your choice. So we can deodorize all kinds of stuff. Air fresheners. So I like to use this combination, clear the air. When you're following an air freshener recipe, so here's one with water and essential oils. Again, this recipe does not show, it does not include any ingredient to help those essential oils mix properly in water, because they're not water soluble. So I recommend anytime you find a recipe like that, add either a little vegetable glycerin or a little alcohol. Both of those will help suspend those essential oils properly. Automatic dishwashing powder you can make with washing soda and borax. Do remember though, your washing machine, even though it cleans your dishes, does not clean itself. So over time, it will stop working as well. Here are some instructions at the bottom on how to actually clean the dishwasher. Countertop care. So generally speaking, just plain old soap and water is all we need if we upkeep. Avoid abrasive products and bleaches. Stain removers, there's various products you can use. Oxygen bleach here for stubborn stains, hydrogen peroxide, or baking soda. Just again, spot test, and especially if you have stone. Oven cleaner, I think baking soda and water works really well as a paste for most situations. I cleaned mine after 3 years, literally, of not doing it since I moved into my new place. I watched this nice video here which talked about the science studies that were done trying to figure out what is the best natural product to remove pesticides from foods. And lo and behold, it turns out to be just ordinary baking soda soaked for 12 to 15 minutes. So you can watch that video to find out. So I'll be, after I finish my product I have right now, I'm just going to use baking soda. Clothing stains is something that intimidates me a bit. I have to tell you, I've never ever in my life tried to remove them until recently, as I had to experiment. It's a bit of a science. So it depends on the type of stain. There's not just one thing you can use. Oil-based stains, there's tannin-based stains, protein-based stains, which are anything to do with body fluids, and there's different products. So I listened to so many videos and went to so many websites and tried to find people that really knew what they were talking about to break it down. So hopefully over these next few slides, you'll have enough great resources if you're intimidated like me to start practicing. So here's some information on this slide. This was a great video on Gentleman's Gazette. This guy was super nerdy in the best way. You've got to watch this video. And he broke it down into organic and inorganic and oily organic and oily inorganic stains and what to use. Molly Maid had this great resource. So I've got this now printed up and stuck in my kitchen. So it will, for all different kinds of stains, gives you detailed instructions. A lot of these, again, are simple ingredients. The Cleaning Institute had, if you go to their website, tons of information on all kinds of different stains, whether it's crayons or mildew or blood, it will give you different directions. This is a laundry soap recipe that I've been using for a few years, which I really find helpful. I pre-mix soap flakes, washing soda, and borax. The one thing that I would say that I learned in this journey is that I'm probably using too much because I have a high efficiency machine and I was using half a cup of this, and I think for a high efficiency machine, probably just 1 tablespoon of this mixture would work better. So if you have a high efficiency machine, a lot of the recipes out there, especially older ones, come from a time when we didn't have these machines and they're just too sudsy and they're going to leave residue on your clothes. So try to reduce the amounts. I use these pure wool balls, which are 100% merino, made in Canada. I add drops of essential oil on them and throw them into the machine. And I love these as a much safer alternative to commercial dryer sheets. Just remember, though, for the Microfiber cloths, you want to keep the static clean. You do not want to use these. Toilet bowl cleaners, borax and washing soda work very well. And you can always add some kind of essential oil. Tea tree oil is very popular, known as a good disinfectant, so you can use that. If you have really stubborn stains, rings around the toilet, use a pumice stone for those. For stains in your tub or on your tiles or in your grout, here's a good combination. Castile soap, baking soda, any essential oil, but I love lime, and the hydrogen peroxide is going to help, again, reduce the yellowing of the stains to lighten it a bit. So for mirror cleaner, I used to make the mistake of trying to use soap on my mirrors, which just doesn't work well, leaves streaks. You want something light, like vinegar. Cornstarch apparently helps reduce the streaks. And clean with that nice S pattern. And that's the most efficient way. Tip at the bottom there, use a little rubbing alcohol first on a cotton pad to get away those, those little globs and spots that you never seem to get away, to be able to remove. Also, the correct microfiber cloth for mirrors is the weave cloth. It leaves the least amount of streaks and dries the fastest. Floor cleaner. So two common mistakes, both of which that I have made, is one, using too much water, wetting your floor too much. So you really want to get a good, some kind of mechanism where you can wring your mop out as much as you can so it's virtually dry, like your clothes when it comes out of the spin cycle. Secondly, however much soap you think you need to use less of it. A tiny bit of soap goes a long way. So either use soap, I love using Castile soap, or vinegar, but don't mix them together. And add an essential oil of your choice. If you have hardwood floors, never use vinegar, only Castile, which is great, nice and gentle. To clean your microwave, I don't have one, so I haven't tried this, but just 1 part vinegar and water, microwave it for 4 minutes, and then wipe clean. And that seemed to be a popular recipe all over the internet. Wooden cutting boards, I've completely demolished all of mine and never followed any of this advice, but I will, I promise from now on. For basic daily maintenance, just Castile soap and water, which is what I have always done. Don't submerge them in water, though, and ventilate them well. But for nasty smells, lemon and kosher salt is great. And for monthly maintenance, which I've never done, mineral oil or beeswax. I know mineral oil is maybe not the type of oil that you might have around, but you don't want to use oils that are going to go rancid, like olive oil. So that's the reason for the mineral oil. Cleaning silver tarnish. I think this is a very effective way, just using aluminum foil, baking soda, and salt. So I think this is a tried and tested recipe. Avoid using this with patina designs, as it may remove their accents. Not a problem for me. I don't have any silver whatsoever. And this is in the attachment that you're going to have. So for all of many great articles I've found, here are the links. One of my favorite that I relied on, which if you're an enthusiast of do-it-yourself cleaning products, you probably already know the Clean My Space channel. But if not, she has endless videos that she's done for years on everything you can imagine. So I've included some of them here. And I've included links to all my favorite videos, because there's tons of really awful videos on YouTube that you have to go through. So hopefully I'm offering you here some of the many high quality ones that you'll want to have a look at. And so that brings me to the end of this training. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thank you, Thalia. That was fantastic.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that you used your own home as a research center for all of these recipes. I do have a few questions that have been flagged from some of our attendees that we'll go through. One thing that's come up quite a bit is, how do I get a recording if I was late? And I just wanted to let everybody know that we will be sending out a full recording of the presentation tomorrow. So you'll have that to start from the beginning, as well as to go back and pause on any of the recipes that were shared. And then in the file section of the chat, you'll see that there are 2 recipes and the full resource guide with all of the links that she just provided. So to start off with the questions, a few about borax, one of them being, is it safe for pets?
I'm not sure. That's a great question, and I don't want to answer that. I know that people some people do consume, and I don't recommend this, but some people do consume some borax. So it's safe sort of in small amounts, but I'm not sure for pets. So
yeah, probably go over the ingredient list with someone who would know what is safe for pets or not. I'm not.
Yeah. It's obviously not safe for ants and other little critters that eat it. So it's a good question, but I would have to get back to you. I'm sure Dr. Google can answer that.
A couple questions were brought up about microfibers and their impact on the environment. Are they bad for the environment, good for the environment? Any thoughts around that question?
That's a great question. As much as I love them, I have heard. Now, I haven't done my own research, but they are partly made of some type of plastics. I know that because if you wash them with extreme heat, you can apparently melt some of it. And I have heard that little bits of the plastic can get into your water. So from that aspect, yeah, they may not be great, which is sad because they're so incredibly helpful.
Okay, that's good to know.
That, I've heard that there are some, and I don't know what's called, but there's some mechanisms that you can get attached to your washing machine that can catch these little particles, like some kind of filters. That's something to look into. But yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked and you're concerned. Out of all of these things,
Yeah. And so a couple around in the laundry department. What is safe or good to use in place of bleach from the products that you were recommending?
So in place of bleach, you can just use the oxygen bleach. So oxygen bleach that I showed you is different from the ordinary chlorine bleach that you see. It doesn't have the chlorine in it, and it's much safer. So you can simply use that instead.
And similar in that line, someone was asking if that oxygen bleach would work for safe product for whitening silks. Would you know if that is the case?
It may, but I would be careful when it comes to wool or silk because it's still fairly strong. So you're probably best off trying to use something more gentle, like baking soda when it comes to that. And some of those links I provided for the cleaning clothes and stains may also speak to that. But yeah, I wouldn't for those kind of delicate objects. I'd be careful.
Great. Okay, that's good advice. And a couple more questions that have come in now since we opened up the Q&A. What would be good for hardwood floors?
So for hardwood floors, just Castile soap and water is all you need. Easy. Yeah, and just and when you're cleaning it, go in the direction of the grain so that you don't leave streaks rather than going against it. Yeah, but I would just keep with the Castile soap and very little so you don't leave a lot of a residue.
Lovely. And Christine has asked, can witch hazel be used as a cleaner or disinfectant? Have you found that amongst your findings?
I didn't see it in many recipes. I use witch hazel myself. I just made my own DIY mouthwash because witch hazel is a great astringent. So it tightens tissues. So, if you have boggy gums, I know it's used not to get into graphics, but for hemorrhoids, because again, it tightens tissues. I'm I'm sure that it maybe could be added into DIY cleaning products, but I just didn't come across any recipes with it. And I think it has more applications for, on our own bodies to help with tightening tissues as an astringent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Nora has asked, I've read that hydrogen peroxide is not a designated disinfectant. Is this true?
Yes. Oh, well, that's one of them that I put as a designated. I believe, you can double check it, because those three that I listed as designated disinfectants, one was hydrogen peroxide, and I believe that information came from the CDC. So, I mean, double check. Don't take my word for it, because just in case. But I believe that it wasn't on the CDC site, but it was someone writing a blog about the 3 CDC recognized disinfectants, and that was one of them. So I took it at face value.
Perfect. One of our other attendees is saying that it must be 3% or higher.
Oh, as a disinfectant?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I haven't seen it come in anything lower than 3%. So usually when you buy it is 3%, but I have a stronger one for sprouting, and I have spilt it on my hands a few times, and your skin turns immediately white and is very dangerous. So just be careful if you get higher.
Perfect. A few questions about essential oils. I read that tea tree oils is dangerous for cats. Is that so?
I'm not a pet doctor, so don't know a lot, but on the Now website, 2 of the links that I provided you in the 2-page handout, one was a link to essential oils and children, and the other was essential oils and pets. So the answer is probably there, but I don't know off the top of my head, but I figured someone might ask, so I provided those links for you. Great. Yeah, be careful with essential oils and your floors when you have, I guess, kids or pets. You certainly want to look into it before spraying it all over your house.
Wonderful. Well, that takes us to the end of our presentation this evening. There was a few more Q&A that we don't have time to get to, but again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all of our participants for being here this evening. And as I mentioned, we will be doing the draw for all of you that stayed on to the end for the $50 shopping spree from Pure Source, which you'll be able to use at any Nature's Fair markets. And a lot of the products that Thalia talked about tonight are in our stores. That was one of the questions. So yes, you can find these items with Nature's Fair. So good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for being here.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Thalia.
Bye.